Chapter 617. Jian Yun originally did not intend to add, but for some reason, her hand slipped, and she clicked to confirm the addition. Then Cheng Mu's instantly sent her a video file. Jian Yun looked at the video file and frowned. After a while, she clicked on the video. The video flashed, and then a corridor appeared in the video. It looked like a hotel. No. This was the surveillance video of the hotel. Jian Yun was a little puzzled. Why did Cheng Mu send her this? She subconsciously wanted to turn it off. But then Jian Yun saw two familiar figures walking over. She could tell at a glance that the one who walked in front to open the door was Chen Xin. The man beside Chen Xin looked very embarrassed. His clothes were stuck to his body as if he was completely drenched, but even so, it did not damage his powerful aura. Even through the screen, Jian Yun seemed to be able to feel the coldness and gloominess emitted from his body. The man was naturally Hu Liancheng. Could it be that this was the hotel surveillance that day? Jian Yun looked at the date at the bottom corner of the video, and her pupils suddenly contracted. Her heart also began to beat wildly. But immediately after, she threw her phone to the side. She also had an intense mental struggle in her heart. No, you can't watch. She would never want to recall what she saw that day. Even if he said nothing had happened, she had clearly seen him in the same room with the other women without any clothes on. She had seen it with her own eyes. She had seen him panic with her own eyes. If that wasn't guilt, then what was it? Even if nothing had happened, it could only have happened before it happened. What if she had gone a step too late? The veins on Jian Yun's forehead started to jump. She felt her head hurt again. She picked up her phone and wanted to turn off the video. However, her hand shook and her phone fell to the ground. She quickly picked it up and took a look. At this time, Chen Xin opened the door. He went in first. It seemed that Hu Liancheng had checked it before he went in. The surveillance video was very clear. Jian Yun could clearly see the fury of the drenched man. His face was gloomy. After Hu Liancheng went in, the door was also closed. Jian Yun's eyelids jumped. What was this? This proved that he had nothing to do with that woman? Jian Yun did not want to look again. Every time she thought about it, she felt as if her heart was being tortured to death. It was heart-piercing pain. But inexplicably, Jian Yun had a desire in her heart. She wanted to continue watching the video. However, after Hu Liancheng went in, the scene was in a motionless state. No, it was not considered static. The time below was still walking. Someone passed by in the middle, pushing the cleaning trolley. It was the cleaning auntie of the hotel. This was the time when the surveillance camera was on. About 3 to 4 minutes later, another figure appeared on the screen. This time, it was two people. The man was carrying the woman, and the woman's long hair was wet on her face. Her entire body was drenched, and she looked like she was crying. She looked very tired and sad. Jian Yun had never seen this man before. She only saw the two of them walk to the door. Hu Liancheng went in and knocked on the door. Chen Xin came over to open the door. He seemed to be very shocked when he saw the person. She did not know what they said. The man looked very anxious. Chen Xin turned his head and seemed to be asking Hu Liancheng. When Chen Xin turned his head back again, his face was still cold. He closed the door and did not show any intention of letting the two of them in. The woman seemed to be crying. The man holding her was also anxious. At this time, Chen Xin turned his head again. A moment later, he turned his body and let the two of them in. The door was immediately closed. Seeing this, Jian Yun's lips had already fiercely bit together. He did not lie to her. Back then, in the room, indeed, there were more than two of them. Chen Xin and the man were both there, even if he wanted to do something with the woman. He could not have kept Chen Xin and that man. So, she really misunderstood him? Jian Yun's heart shook violently and her eyes flashed with surprise. She was only stunned for a moment before she realized that her figure had appeared in the video. Jian Yun subconsciously looked at the time of the video and frowned. Her appearance and that woman's appearance were only 5 minutes apart. She went out of the restaurant, entered the elevator, and then went to the top floor. It was only about 3 or 4 minutes. Jian Yun suddenly felt like she understood something. Jian Yun would never forget what happened next. She called Hu Liancheng and knocked on the door. She saw that he was only wrapped in a towel. Even after such a long time, Jian Yun still remembered how she felt like she was struck by lightning. However, when she looked at the video again, Jian Yun found that Hu Liancheng was shocked and panicked when he saw her. He did not show any guilt. Instead, he was furious when he saw the woman suddenly appear. She saw herself turn around and leave decisively. She had just entered the elevator when Hu Liancheng chased after her. Chen Xin followed behind her. He could not wait for the elevator to reach the stairs. It was 20 floors high. He rushed down in one breath. According to what they said, it had only been a month or so since he recovered from his serious injuries. Xianyun grabbed her head with both hands. No. She could not think anymore. The video suddenly flashed here. Chang Mu's voice sounded. Sister Jian, Caillou is a hotel under the Who's. This suite belongs to fourth brother. Many people in the capital know about it. Look inside. Xianyun's eyelashes trembled, and she subconsciously looked up. She saw Chang Mu's figure appear in the video. This should have been edited by him later. His figure flashed, and the camera was aimed at the suite. The suite was very big. It was a small living room when she went in. When she walked in, she saw a corridor. Chang Mu's pushed open the door on both sides and walked separately. Xianyun finally understood what he wanted her to see. It turned out that there were 2 rooms in this suite. The scene was frozen at the end. Chang Mu's voice sounded again. Sister Jian, if you can insist on seeing here, you should be able to understand that everything that happened that day was planned by someone else. That's right, no matter how stupid Jianyun was, she also understood that she was plotted against. Not only her, Hu Liancheng was also framed. The next day, Jianyun woke up before 6 o'clock. She felt that it was very bright outside. When she pulled open the curtains to take a look, she discovered that it had started snowing unknowingly. The heaven and earth were all white. It seemed that the snow had been falling for a long time. The doorbell rang just after 7 o'clock. Xianyun happened to be in the living room, so she held her stomach and went to open the door. When she saw that it was Hu Liancheng standing outside the door, she was stunned for a moment, then nodded. She considered it as a greeting, turned around and walked away. Hu Liancheng suddenly had an expression of being overwhelmed by favor. Xianyun did not chase him away, and even greeted him. He was so happy. But then Hu Liancheng frowned again. Why were Jianyun's eyes red? Was it because she did not sleep well last night, or was she in a bad mood? No. If she was in a bad mood, she would not pay attention to him. Could it be that another fool provoked her? Thinking of this, Hu Liancheng's eyes immediately turned cold. He took out his phone and searched. Sure enough, he saw that someone on Weibo had exposed the fight between him and Jianyun in the Civil Affairs Bureau. There were also photos of him carrying Jianyun in the hospital. Ex-boyfriend and ex-husband, and found their boyfriends at the Civil Affairs Bureau at the same time. The life of a woman abandoned by a wealthy family. Explode. The wealthy family abandoned their wives to get their marriage certificate, but they were slapped by their ex-husband in public. So the real reason why the wealthy class abandoned their wives was because of their private life. Hu Liancheng casually swept a glance and saw these ugly rumors. His face sank and his aura suddenly changed. Xianyun, who had been sitting on the sofa and flipping through the piano score, felt a trace of cold air. She could not help but raise her eyes and look at Hu Liancheng. Her brows slightly closed. Hu Liancheng saw Jianyun looking over, and when she came into contact with that pair of big black and white eyes, he immediately felt as if he had drunk cool lemon water in the hot weather. He was sour and sweet, and the anger in his heart immediately dissipated. No, it was not that it had dissipated completely. It was just that he had concealed it very well. He could not let Jianyun see these disgusting words, and he would not let those people who were spreading rumors go easily either. Do you want water? Hu Liancheng looked at Jianyun gently, his face full of expectation and infatuation. Xianyun frowned and subconsciously shook her head. Then she turned her head away from Hu Liancheng. Hu Liancheng's eyes instantly dimmed. Xianyun seemed to have sensed the change in Hu Liancheng's aura. She seemed to have thought of something. She paused and suddenly turned her head again. She quickly looked at him and lowered her eyes. She gave an awkward soft in. Hu Liancheng was stunned for a moment before he realized that Xianyun was replying to him. He was overjoyed and ran over to pour Jianyun a glass of water, as if he had won the lottery. He happily held it in front of her. If anyone saw this scene, they would be so shocked that they would not be able to close their jaws. A man who was as cold as an iceberg in front of outsiders would be so excited because he could bring tea and water to a woman. Xianyun was also not used to it. She put down the music score in her hand and reached for the cup of water. Hu Liancheng looked down at Jianyun. From his angle, he could see her delicate face, sharp chin, and the dense mascara covering her eyes. At this time, the 2 feather eyelashes were lightly trembling, like 2 small brushes, lightly tickling his heart, making Hu Liancheng wish he could immediately hug Jianyun in his arms. He missed that fragrant and soft feeling too much, to the point that his heart was itching. His fingers moved and faintly swept over Jianyun's palm. But then Hu Liancheng regretted. because he felt Jian Yun's entire body shake. Like a frightened deer, she suddenly pulled back her hand and her face instantly turned pale. "I'm sorry. Is it burning you?" Hu Liancheng was upset, but he could not admit that he did it on purpose. He knew that Jian Yun misunderstood him too deeply, so he could not rush it now. "No." Jian Yun quickly lowered her head to hide the anger in her eyes. Yes, she was also upset. Why did she have such a big reaction? Didn't she just touch him? Jian Yun calmed herself down. When she saw Hu Liancheng standing in front of her with a cup of water, she gritted her teeth and quickly took the cup from his hand. She took a few sips from the corner of her mouth and held her hand in her palm. Cheng Muz came over and knocked on the door. When he found the door was ajar, he pushed it open and came in. Then he saw Hu Liancheng smiling like a fool in front of Jian Yun. Cheng Muz could not help rolling his eyes. But when he saw Jian Yun's awkward expression and forced herself not to flare up, he immediately showed a gratified expression. It seemed that Jian Yun had seen the video he sent her last night. Jian Yun should also know that the clothes that Hu Liancheng and other women saw were not arranged properly in the hotel. Hu Liancheng had been plotted against. The misunderstanding had been resolved. Then, should he turn around and leave, hiding his skills and fame? Cheng Muz was thinking about how to claim credit from Hu Liancheng when he heard his phone ring. He picked it up and saw that it was a message from Hu Liancheng. He immediately looked up at Hu Liancheng with a dumbfounded expression. Weren't they standing here face to face? Just speak directly. Why do you have to be so roundabout? Cough, cough. Hu Liancheng was a little angry. What was going on with Cheng Muz? He did not have any eyesight at all. Did he not see that he and Jian Yun were nurturing their relationship here? When Jian Yun heard Hu Liancheng cough, her eyelashes trembled. She raised her head to look at him. Hu Liancheng immediately put his hands down. He didn't cough or pant. He even revealed a gentle smile that could kill people. Cheng Muz trembled violently. At this time, he also saw the content of Hu Liancheng's text message. His heart trembled and his expression turned gloomy. Sister Jian, I remember I was still boiling water. I'll go back and see if the water is ready. Cheng Muz randomly found an excuse to leave. He had to quickly go back to deal with the online comments. At the same time, Cheng Muz was also very annoyed. Why were there so many online rumors? Those people who had created the rumors were arrested a few times. Why were there so many people catching wind and shadows? It seemed that the price of creating the rumors was not high enough. When only Jian Yun and Hu Liancheng were left in the room, the atmosphere became more and more subtle. Jian Yun understood that the thing she cared most about and hated the most was actually a misunderstanding. She was both upset and at a loss. She suddenly did not know how to get along with Hu Liancheng. Hu Liancheng saw that Jian Yun did not resist him anymore, and his heart was already filled with joy. He wanted to get closer to her and get closer. Fortunately, it did not take long. Yang Fei and Auntie Quinn came back from shopping outside. The moment the door opened, Jian Yun heaved a sigh of relief. Finally, she did not have to face Hu Liancheng alone. Only God knew how nervous she was right now. There is a lot of snow this year. It has only been a few days, but the second snow has already fallen. Yes, it is still heavy snow. Looks like next year will be a harvest year. Yang Fei and Auntie Quinn changed their shoes and took off their coats. They chatted as they walked and brought the cold air outside. At the same time, they broke the subtle atmosphere that had lingered in the room for a long time. Liancheng is so early. Yang Fei saw that Hu Liancheng was also there. She hurriedly looked at Jian Yun, who was sitting on the sofa with her head lowered. Her brows raised as if she had guessed something. After greeting, she hurriedly pulled Auntie Quinn into the kitchen. Jian Yun pouted. She was very dissatisfied with her mother's behavior. She did not want to be stared at by Hu Liancheng here, so she got up and went into her bedroom. Jian Yun used her phone to play the fetal music, while she sat by the bed and looked at her stomach in a daze. She knew that Hu Liancheng also came in. He pulled open a chair and sat by the window. There was a distance from her, but he did not disturb her and she did not chase him away. At this time, snow was flying outside the window. The man's handsome face was full of love. Jian Yun felt her ears heat up for some reason. The two of them just sat there quietly. Even though there was still no communication, the atmosphere was not as awkward as before. Jian Yun did not sleep well last night. The house was very warm and it made her feel drowsy. However, there was someone in the house and it was not good for her to really sleep. She could only force herself to stay awake. But she really could not take it. She had already started to take a nap. Until the phone rang. Jian Yun was playing the soothing fetal music. So when her phone rang, She was stunned for a moment before she reacted. So early, who would call her? Jian Yun picked up her phone and looked at it. It was an unfamiliar number, and it belonged to the capital. She immediately frowned. She did not want to answer at all, and hung up. Who called? Hu Liansheng saw Jian Yun frown and felt unhappy. Who called early in the morning? It was really noisy. The phone in the capital. I don't know who it is, Jian Yun replied casually. But as soon as she finished speaking, she was stunned. Why did she answer Hu Liansheng so naturally? Compared to Jian Yun's uneasiness, Hu Liansheng could no longer hide the ecstasy in his heart. Jian Yun was finally willing to communicate with him and answer his question. Happy? But Hu Liansheng immediately reacted. When Jian Yun said that the call was from the imperial capital, she had a look of annoyance. Presumably, she hated the imperial capital very much. To be exact, she did not hate the imperial capital, but those arrogant people who lived in the imperial capital. Hu Liansheng narrowed his eyes. A cold light suddenly flashed through his eyes. At the same time, in a military camp in the suburbs of the capital, Liao Qi finished his training. As soon as he entered the dormitory, he heard his phone ring. He first drank a jar of water. Then, he picked up his phone and opened it. He could not help but spray the water on the face of the civil servant who had brought him breakfast. Commander, what are you doing? Xiao Lai gloomily wiped the water off his face. Put it down. Quickly, get out. Liao Qi quickly picked up the captain's stance and waved his hand to signal for Xiao Li to leave. If Xiao Lai did not leave, he was afraid that he would spurt out water again. Cheng Mu sent him a picture of Hu Liansheng early in the morning. This kind of behavior was simply outrageous, scaring him to the point his heart trembled. Liao Qi glanced at the phone again. He swiped a few pictures of Hu Liansheng, who was smiling like a fool. Liao Qi's teeth were about to ache when he saw this. He had a constipated expression on his face. Look at this guy's face. If he was seen by others, his expression would definitely scare a group of people. Liao Qi looked at the picture on the phone. Hu Liansheng was looking in a certain direction, but Cheng Mu's didn't take a picture of who it was, but Liao Qi knew who it was. At this time, Liao Qi's phone rang. When he saw that it was Cheng Mu's, he quickly picked it up. He opened his mouth to curse, but Cheng Mu's interrupted him. The internet is starting to stir up trouble again. Those people are so annoying. This time, we must catch them and kill them to warn the others. Cheng Mu's was flustered and exasperated. No wonder Sister Jian is depressed. If I get scolded like that, I want to kill people. Liao Qi's face darkened when he heard that. Someone is spreading rumors again? You will know when you go online yourself. Now, fourth brother has been keeping watch on Sister Jian. He is afraid that she will go online. Don't blame me for not reminding you. If you want to show off, hurry up. Cheng Mu's hung up the phone after he finished speaking. He was obviously very busy. Liao Qi scratched his hair. He was extremely depressed. He thought about how glorious the Liao family had been. They had been generals for several generations. It was not an exaggeration to say that their family was the #1 aristocratic family in the capital. Now, they had fallen to such a state where they had to curry favor with Hu Liansheng in order to survive. In order to show off, he took the lead every day. Not to mention the rest of the family. They were all miserable to look at. Other than him, almost all of the men in the family were beaten up by Jifeng every few days. Liao Kefeian was the one who was beaten the most. All of this was because they had provoked Hu Liansheng. No one expected that Hu Liansheng, who looked like he could not turn over when he was suppressed by Hu Chengfeng, would actually hide such a powerful killing move. Moreover, he had a very strong backer. Even the Liao family could not compare to that person. Liao Qi recalled what Cheng Mu's told him later. He could not help but shake his head and sigh. Who would have thought that Jian Yun was so important to Hu Liansheng? According to Cheng Mu's, Jian Yun was Hu Liansheng's spiritual pillar. Jian Yun had once saved Hu Liansheng. That was the spiritual pillar that had saved Hu Liansheng's life. If the Liao family cut off Hu Liansheng's spiritual pillar, it would be equivalent to harming him. No wonder Hu Liansheng hated the Liao family so much. Liao Qi casually searched the internet. When he saw those inexplicable rumors, he also felt that this was a good opportunity to redeem himself. He quickly took out more than 10 phones from his drawer. Every phone had an account registered. It was to speak on the internet. Liao Qi was very familiar with this matter. He jumped up and down to scold those who were spreading rumors. At the same time, he did his best to flatter Jian Yun. As long as someone scolded her, he would immediately use a bunch of accounts to retaliate. Later on, there were people who specially posted on Weibo to look for Liao Qi's account. They even called him a lackey of an abandoned wife of a wealthy family. Liu Qi didn't care. As long as he could make the devil happy, he would be a lackey. Just as Liu Qi was busy and almost about to concentrate, he picked up a phone call. It was Ma Fang Fang. What is it? Liu Qi did not have a good impression of this stepmother. If it was not for this woman's stupid idea, Liu family would not have thought of forcing Hu Liancheng to betray his lust and marry the Ma family, thus offending that malefic star. Moreover, the reason why the Liu family was investigated was because of this. The first reason was because the father and son of the Liu family bribed others. It was also because the Ma family was trying to use the influence of the Liu family to gain benefits from the relationship between them and the Liu family. This was how they obtained their most profitable land. Mo Fangfang was helping them in secret. She had even secretly stomped Liu Shigong's personal seal on the Mu family more than once. It was precisely because of this that Liu Shigong's political enemies reported their mistakes to the country. The country was furious. The country had ordered a thorough investigation of the Liu family. If not, the Liu family would not have been so flustered. After that, Hu Liancheng punished the Liu family economically. The current Liu family was in a precarious situation. Xian Yun didn't answer my call. Can you help me contact her? Mo Fangfang knew that Liu Qi did not like her. She was usually afraid of the twins. She could only force her voice to sound less timid. I'm sorry, I don't have the ability. Liu Qi answered stiffly. He was about to hang up when he saw that someone posted on the internet that the wealthy class abandoned their wives because they were pregnant with another man's child. The comments below were rising rapidly. Immediately, he was furious. He grabbed his phone and counterattacked on the internet. Just because Qiu is your sister, can you help, Auntie? She continued to say. I know I have let down the Liu family. Now the Mo family has fallen, but your sister still belongs to the Liu family. Mo Fangfang cried.